Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Own Your Own Freedom. And this is the next video of the narcissistic 7 deadly sins. I've already gone through some of them. You can see the playlist that I will in the description box below. But today we're going to be talking about slothfulness, because anybody who's been in a relationship with a narcissist, whether it be romantically or in family, knows that the narcissist, when they're not, scrambling to get supply, they simply have no ambition to do anything but receive the admiration and care from other people. The real definition is the lack of ambition or lack of willingness to improve on one's talents and gifts to advance their well-being in life. And it's simply, I think it's insulting to sloths, honestly, because sloths aren't lazy. They just are slow. They just are leisurely animals. But the narcissist simply doesn't have enough, unless they're doing something to get supply, they don't invest any of their time or energy in it. That's why usually their primary source of supply is just, they get the worst of the narcissist, of their attention and their time, because they already caught them. So they're like, why should I waste my time investing in you? You're my supply. You're there for me. So slothfulness, the narcissist is typically negligent in most of their obligations, except if they are guaranteed to gain some sort of narcissistic supply. So if their job makes them look good to other people, and if on their job they get loads of supply for how talented they are, how intelligent they are, they will put a lot of energy in their job. Okay. But in other cases, housework. Who's looking at admiring someone for their housework, unless they have guests that come over? The guests might come over and say, "Hey, wow, your house is so wonderful and clean," and that's a little form of supply there. So, but otherwise, if they don't get that, then they're going to leave their house like a pile of crap. Bills. No one's looking at their bills and saying, "Hey, great job paying your bills," or like, "Oh wow, look how high your bills are." No one's looking. No one really cares, because everybody has bills. So most of the time, because narcissists are so impulsive, they really don't put the extra effort into, number one, paying their bills before they go past due, paying off their credit cards and things like that, because number one, that's boring, and that would mean that they have responsibilities on this earth and that they're not perfect and immune from the daily struggles of every human being. The things that don't receive a reward or supply, they won't do, or they will wait till the last minute to do, or they simply will push it off onto someone else, like regular housework, cooking, job responsibilities, all of that. Another example, this is more for a somatic narcissist or an extroverted narcissist. If dressing nice and wearing cologne and cleaning the house don't impress their circle or their love interest or their love target, they simply won't do it. That's why, with my ex narcissist, there was a time where I walked into his apartment and it smelled like laundry. It literally smelled like sweat and laundry. And it didn't usually smell like that. Like I had brought a friend over to have dinner. She brought her boyfriend and we had dinner at his apartment. It looked clean. And I even said, like, "Is your apartment always like this?" He's like, "Yeah, it's always like this." And I'm like, okay. So, but then in essence, they simply won't put the effort in if it doesn't provide them some sort of supply. Coverts only care about their looks in social, when they're in social settings. They use their circle of supply to meet all of their needs. And these are the needs that they either don't want to do or can't do themselves. For example, if they can't cook, like I told the story in one of my videos about how my ex narcissist lied a lot. And one of his biggest lies was the fact that I can cook very well. And he would say that he could cook, but whenever it came time to sort of do it, he sort of failed. And he made it look like he could cook. But yeah, he would just have other people, like, you know, in our church, cook for him. He would have other, whether they're moms or grandmas. He would, you know, provide this sob story about how he just didn't have time, or he was so busy with work, or he was just so busy, you know, traveling or doing whatever, that he didn't have time, and they would cook him something. And that was his way of getting his needs met, by using his circle of supply. And because they have no ambition to learn, like, you know, a guy, when they're living alone, they're living single, usually they will learn something, but narcissists refuse. It's not uncommon for narcs to get into relationships, for example, just to get their needs met. I've known a narcissist who had a job that he hated, of course, because he didn't get any supply, and it was all about getting the job done and not necessarily about having relationships. And when they got into a relationship, they quit their job, and then or sometimes they have partner where they would find out that the person that they're with, the narcissist that they're with, has no money and no skills whatsoever. So they're sort of stuck being like, wait, you have no job, but we live together, and like, how are you going to meet your needs? But the goal was to get with you, to get you to meet their needs. When they're not desperately vying for narcissistic supply, they're doing nothing, because they have no inner world. And they're usually sulking or drowning in their shame and self-pity and revenge. They envision themselves as these like high status people, gaining all types of attention, living well, living the life without ever having to work for it. I mean, that illusion is sort of part of their ego and their false self that helps them function in the real world. And it helps them explain why their life sucks, because they're like, well, okay, well, other people aren't helping me. Other people are keeping me from getting to a high status. You know, well, I'm worth this much. This is my goal. They don't understand that their laziness fuels the lack of meaning in their life. They don't understand that meaning comes from inward and outward productiveness. When someone is productive, meaning they're using their creativity and they're using their talents to add something to the world instead of taking more from it than you put in, that's when we find purpose. But the narcissist has no purpose, because they do nothing but take from people and from the world. They don't add anything. They're not contributors. They are consumers. And that's part of them being so slothful. That's why they are perpetually unmoving and stuck in a static place of misery. So that's my video on slothfulness. This is a part of my series of the 7 deadly sins of narcissism. And if you like this video, like it, subscribe to my channel, and hit the notification bell to be alerted on all my new videos. Leave a comment if you've experienced this with a narcissist or someone who was highly toxic individual, because trust me, they are seriously slothful, and they seriously don't care about anything other than gaining supply. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you on the next one.